You're watching the Common Constitutionalist Weekend Video Podcast.
Hey there, my name is Brent Smith and I'm the Common Constitutionalist, and welcome once again to the Common Constitutionalist Weekend Video Podcast. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, hit the alert, comment, positive or negative. I think I might be getting better at this nonsense, but we'll see. At any rate, today's video podcast is on one topic, and it's about our education, and it is beyond repair at this point. The public education system, or the government education system, is basically beyond repair. So that's what I'll be discussing today on the Common Constitutionalist Weekend Video Podcast. I'll be right back. All right, I am back, and I think it's time for us all to admit that the public school system is broken beyond repair. It cannot be repaired at this point. We'll never go back, okay? It's like this whole COVID-19 thing. We're never going to go back to a normal thing, just January 1st. We'll never go back to January 1st, 2020. Welcome to the new normal. It's just the government-mandated, oppressive new normal. Same thing with the school system. Because of the teachers' unions, the system is broken to the point where it cannot be repaired. My opinion. Well, it ain't just my opinion, it's the opinion of many conservatives. But I guess that's kind of only half right. Yes, it is in fact beyond repair, but no, it's not broken. It's infested. It's infested with leftist, Marxist, fascist radicals. And we can never return to a time when public schools simply taught the 3 R's. Reading, writing, arithmetic, you know what I'm saying? And I think it's high time we stop referring to the school system as the innocuous term public school system. It's a government school system. And that's what it is. It's run, wholly owned and operated and run by the government. Well, at least it, at least it used to be. How's that? Now it's even worse. And it took a couple of, this is how the leftist radicals work. They know it takes a couple of generations to get through what they want to get through. They may not look patient, but they have, at least their predecessors, the predecessors of the radical movement are definitely more patient than we conservatives. We conservatives want badly, so badly, to get back to where we were. Frankly, I'd rather go back to the age of Obama than be here right now. I mean, I love Trump. Trump's been doing a great job, but the country as a whole has melted down to the point where it's unrecognizable. That's beside the point. But it's taken a couple of generations, and if you're unaware what a generation is classified, it's between 20 and 30 years, okay? That's a generation, between 20 and 30 years. So actually, they're kind of right on time, they're right on schedule to do what they're doing now. This isn't a new concept. It's been coming for about 50 to 60 years, and it's just coming to fruition. The fruits of their radical labor is just coming to fruition now, and it's right on schedule, about 2 generations. And I talk like this was formulated or planned, and it was. It was planned. And I don't think, because of the way human nature works and because of the way this system is working, it couldn't have happened any sooner than it is now. The radicalization of our schools really began to get into hyperdrive when everything else in society started to become ruined, and that's the radical 60s, okay? That's when everything in society started to become ruinous. And no, I'm not talking about race, and I'm not talking about that, and the Equal Rights Amendment or the Voting Rights Act. I'm not talking about any of that nonsense. That has nothing to do with anything. By what I mean by societal norms and things, I'm talking about the Marxist, fascist, communist cultural movement. That's when it went into hyperdrive in the 60s. Abbie Hoffman, Jerry Rubin, Timothy Leary, Obama's buddies, Bill Ayers and Bernardine Dorn, Cloward and Piven, Richard Cloward and Francis Fox Piven. Okay, they all were products of the 60s, all radicals. And they knew exactly what they were doing, and they knew exactly the seeds that they were sowing to get us to this point in time. It took the first generation of children to watch, learn, and buy into this new Marxist countercultural revolution, this system. Then they grew up to be the academics of today. The children of the 60s and 70s are academics of today. Those are the people that are running things, and that's why it's taken us 2 generations. They replaced, generally, they just replaced the older, more reasonable teachers that thought they were going to teach reading, writing, arithmetic, and some other things, gym class and stuff like that, okay? Now it's gender, and now it's everything's radicalized. Everything's radicalized in academia. Gone to the Pledge of Allegiance, fast becoming extinct. School prayer has long since been gone. Basically, we've gotten rid of, they're in the midst of getting rid of all the American norms and all the American traditions in school. That's the point. And replacing them with these radical Marxist, fascist, communist, however you want to classify them, radical ideas, okay? And implementing radical policies. And as an aside, this was planned too, okay? This is the ideology that's been bubbling up and planned through from the 60s to today. Why do you think so many teachers and administrators are such radical leftists? It's not by accident. These people were guided from a young age to into government service and public education or government education just for this purpose, to radicalize us all through the schools, radicalize our children through the school system, through government school system. And those who can't be radicalized are controlled by an ever expanding Leviathan type federal government program. That's the bottom line on this thing. Is it evil? Absolutely. Hell yeah, it's evil. We know it's evil. But they don't, a lot of these people know they want what they want regardless, and some of these people they're just absolute human debris. But a lot of these union people, a lot of these teachers who buy into this union radicalization, the teachers' union radicalization, they don't see it that way. At least they didn't to start. They see it as doing the ultimate good. Okay, they say they're doing good for the American people and for the children's. They want to make our lives easier by taking away all those pesky, decisions, like where we send our children to school, what the children are going to learn, and what school they can go to, and things like that. All those pesky decisions that we as non-academics don't have the intelligence to understand why school A is good and why school B is bad. That's way beyond our pay grade. So enter the teachers union that just happened to actually be founded in 1916. The AFT, the first teachers union, American Federation of Teachers, was founded in 1916. What era was that? Oh, that's right. That was the era of radical jack-off Woodrow Wilson. Excuse my French, but that guy was evil to the core. And he had a PhD. Okay, so he was a radical academic, president of Princeton University. He was cut from the same cloth, from the Fabian Socialist cloth. And that's where all this crap came from. Okay, that's where all this stuff originated. But it took a long time and there were still enough people that understood the Constitution, the Bill of Rights, and freedom and liberty, that it got squelched for a period of time. And in the 60s, starting in the 60s with the radical movements, people just started getting dumber and dumber and dumber and more removed from the Constitution, more removed from individual freedoms and liberties, and this is where we're at. Like I said, 2 generations, that's all it took. So the teachers union is no longer just what you call a union, a collective bargaining tool, trying to get as much as they can for their brethren in the union. That's not what it's about anymore. Why do you think otherwise? If that was just what it was about, why do you think that the teachers unions as a whole are so adamantly against school choice? And isn't that the funniest thing? That the only time leftists are for choice is for killing the baby. That's the only time they seem to be for choice. They don't want us to choose where to send our children to school, what schools can be open, what schools can't be open, what schools can be accredited, what schools can't be. That's all part of the demands of the teachers' unions. I mean, it's like Obamacare, you know, taking your choices of health care away just because it's too difficult for you people to choose for yourself. So Obamacare is going to be a much greater thing because the government always does things better than the private sector. You thought you had a choice in health insurance, and back then you kind of did. But even back then, even before Obamacare, you didn't really have a choice of health care. It was already consolidating even before Obamacare. It was like the teachers union. It's like the radicalization of the teaching profession, of the teachers union. This thing was being set up a long time ago, where states could actually control the competition, so they could do these public-private partnerships in healthcare, where you get a couple of behemoths in a particular state, and they lock out, and the state locks out all other competition. So you have your choice of one bad insurance company or one bad insurance company. Take your pick. But those are the insurance companies that the states choose to do business with. No other competition. You know, you've heard of things that, you know, but we want to buy insurance over state lines. Well, you can't do that. We're just too stupid to even figure that kind of stuff out. And that's the epitome of this public-private partnership. Don't ever buy into the public-private partnership. So, but now, as far as the teachers union, now that it's been 2 full generations, basically, the mask, pardon the pun, no mask, has completely come off. Don't listen to their rhetoric. By their actions, they've basically admitted what their goal really is: to radicalize our children and to make this generation even more oppressive than the last, going into their adulthood. They'll be even, if this is allowed to continue, the children of today will be more oppressive as the adults of tomorrow than the adults are today, than these radicals are today. It's only going to get worse until it implodes upon itself. That's the only way it can be fixed at this point, because there's just not. And I hate to be Debbie Downer about it, there's just not enough smart enough people that understand the history that it keeps repeating itself. And anytime that you give government or something like a government union this much authority, where do you expect it to go? It's not going to be able to put a governor on itself. It just isn't. Teachers unions used to be about, you know, teacher pay, teacher time, class size, working conditions, those types of things. Those types of things like every other private sector union would be concerned with. But these academic radicals through the teachers unions, and I'm not talking about all teachers, okay? Some teachers are just stuck in this, okay? If you are say a radio host or you're working for a network or something, you have to be part of the it's like a Ask Me union or something, you know, the Hollywood type of union type of deal, which is a completely radical organization. But even if you're a conservative host of a radio or TV or something like that, you're forced to be part of this union. So I'm not talking about all teachers, but I am talking about some, and maybe a lot of teachers, but certainly the people that run these teachers unions are absolute radical, fascist, communist, Marxist, however you want to classify them. And this is what we're seeing now, is the teachers' unions making these ridiculous demands, or you can't reopen schools. If you don't meet our demands, you can't reopen schools. Absolute blackmail. Absolute blackmail. That's the only, there's no other way to describe that. They want to demand, they are demanding, they are demanding the dissolution or dissolving of all private schools, the unaccreditation or discreditation of all public or all private schools and all charter schools. You got to get rid of them all because they're competition. You got to get rid of, if there is anything such as school choice in any cities or states or anything like that, they have to be gotten rid of. Okay, there can be no school choice except for government school. That's your choice. It's like the insurance company. You can choose bad school 1 or bad school 1A. Take your pick. Or you're just stuck in bad school 1 and that's the end of that. There can be no police officers on the grounds, and you have to defund the police department at large. What the heck does defunding the police department at large have to do with educating your children? Anything? No, of course not. Nothing. Again, that's why you know these all are a bunch of just radical demands. It has nothing to do with education. None. They want to support, they've supported and want the implementation of the Green New Deal. What the hell? Again, what does this have to do with teaching our children? Absolutely zero. Nothing. They want Medicare for all. Again, what does it have to? Nothing. Absolutely nothing. Again, they're making these ridiculous freaking demands because they have the power and we've given them the power, or the cities and states have given these teachers unions carte blanche to do whatever the hell they want, and now they're rather than requesting this stuff, they're demanding it of us, or else. And they have the or else. They've got the big stick. You want us back to work? This is what's going to happen. Online learning. They want parents to sign a pledge, not a pledge, a demand, that they will not monitor their children during online learning. Why? What could the possible reason be as to why that is? Well, duh, anybody with a brain would know why. Because they're indoctrinating your children into radical leftism, fascism, Marxism, communism, whatever the hell it is. That's what they're doing, is they're indoctrinating the next generation after these radicals to be even worse than they are now. Okay? That's what's happening to our schools. And the teachers union have ruined the schools. So unless there's some way to just dissolve these national teachers unions and these state teachers, public sector, government sector unions, which never should have happened in any circumstance at all, no government union should exist. Unless that happens, school systems as we know it, the government school system is done. It's just done. There's no repairing it. It needs to be taken down brick by brick, so to speak, and rebuilt in the under the guise of liberty and freedom and individual choice. Because unlike the teachers union, what they think, we are smart enough to know where to send our kids. We're the parents, not you freaking people. That's all I've got. My name is Brent Smith. I'm the Common Constitutionalist. Thank you once again for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, alert, comment. See ya.